I used to think my mom was my best friend. She'd call me her little angel, even when I was grown. We talked almost every day, sometimes about nothing, just sharing life. I always thought we were close. I never imagined that same woman, the one who raised me, would be the one to ruin my happiness. Growing up, my dad wasn't easy to love. He was cold, hard, always gone. But when he was home, he made me feel special, like I was his whole world. Maybe that's why my mom hated me for it. I didn't see it back then, but now, looking back, I can trace the cracks in her smiles. When Dad brought me flowers for my birthday but forgot hers. When he bragged about my grades but never once said he was proud of her cooking or how she kept the house together. She'd stand there, smiling for him, but her eyes, they were heavy with something that looked a lot like jealousy. When I met Ryan, everything changed. He was gentle in a way my father never was. He looked at me like I was worth the world. We laughed, we dreamed, we built something real. The first time he came to meet my parents, my mom's smile didn't reach her eyes again. She said all the right things, called him handsome, polite, but there was a stiffness to her. I brushed it off. I thought she was just being protective, like any mom would be. But I was wrong. I think she saw in Ryan everything she ever wanted in my dad. His kindness, his attention, the way he couldn't take his eyes off me. Maybe it reminded her of what she never got. And maybe that's when something inside her decided that I didn't deserve to have what she'd been denied her whole life. When Ryan and I got married, I wanted her to walk me down the aisle with my dad, to symbolize unity. But she refused. She said it wasn't traditional. Dad walked me alone, and I remember looking over to see her face. She wasn't crying tears of joy. Her eyes were flat, distant, as if she was losing something. It's strange how love can turn into envy, and envy into cruelty. But at the time, I still thought she loved me. I didn't know what she was already planning behind those tired smiles, because the same woman who gave me life would soon take away everything I ever loved. It started small. So small I almost missed it. Mom would make little comments whenever Ryan and I visited. "Are you sure he's working late?" she'd say casually, sipping her tea. "You know, men say that when they're tired of home." Or she'd smile sweetly and add, "You've gained a bit of weight, honey. Maybe he doesn't notice, but men do." They were tiny cuts, so gentle they barely stung at first. I'd laugh them off, thinking she was just being Mum. But over time, those cuts became wounds I couldn't ignore. Ryan adored me. He'd tell me every night before bed that he loved me. He never once made me doubt him. But my mother had a way of planting seeds in my head, seeds that grew into ugly thoughts. When he got home late, I'd hear her voice echo in my mind. Men say that when they are tired of home. And suddenly, I'd start wondering. I'd question. I'd push him away without even knowing why. Then came the guilt trips. "Oh, so now that you're married, I don't matter anymore," she'd say when I missed her calls. "I was there for you your whole life, and now he's more important." I'd feel awful. I'd apologize. I'd spend hours trying to make her feel loved. And Ryan, he started noticing. He'd say, "Babe, I think your mom doesn't like me." I'd defend her. Every time. "She loves you. She's just adjusting. She's lonely." Lonely. That's what I told myself. But I knew loneliness wasn't the whole story. There were times she'd come over unannounced, folding our laundry, rearranging our furniture, helping with dinner. But she'd do it with an air of quiet judgment, as if showing me she could do it better. Once, when I made Ryan his favorite pasta, she took a bite and said, "A little bland. I used to make this for your dad all the time. He loved it." Ryan smiled politely, but I saw the flicker in his eyes. The discomfort. The feeling of being an intruder in his own home. It's crazy how something so small can begin to corrode love. How a comment here, a glance there, can turn warmth into tension. I thought I was balancing both worlds, my mother's affection and my husband's love. But in truth, I was caught in the middle of a silent war, one I didn't even know had started. And in that war, I was the prize. It's strange how the people who hurt you the most often do it with a smile. By the time our first wedding anniversary came around, Mom had mastered the art of pretending to care. She started texting Ryan directly. "To check in," she said. At first, It seemed sweet. She'd send him recipes, ask about his work, even offer to help plan our anniversary dinner. I thought it was nice that they were getting along. I was wrong. One evening, Ryan came home quiet. His eyes were distant, like his thoughts were miles away. I asked, "What's wrong?" He hesitated, then said, "Your mom called me today. She said you've been different lately, that you've been ignoring her. She's worried about you." I froze. I hadn't ignored her, I'd just been busy with work. But somehow, she had made it sound like I was turning cold. So I called her. "Mom, why did you tell Ryan I'm ignoring you?" She sighed, soft and tired. "Sweetheart, I was just concerned. You've been distant. I thought maybe your marriage was stressing you out." Her voice cracked just enough to sound like tears. And once again, I felt like the bad guy. After that, it only got worse. She'd say things to Ryan when I wasn't around, things meant to sound caring, but laced with poison. "She doesn't mean to snap at you, Ryan. It's just, she has a temper, like her father. You have to be patient with her. Oh, don't take it personally when she gets moody. She does that when she's hiding something." And he'd believe her, because she said it softly, with that motherly tone. He'd come home quieter each week, more distant, more confused. The night I found out she'd been visiting him at work, I thought my heart might stop. He mentioned it casually. "Your mom dropped by with cookies today." Cookies. The same cookies she used to bake for my dad when he'd ignore her. I remember sitting in the bathroom that night, the sound of the shower covering my sobs. I felt like I was losing my husband, and I didn't even know why. What kind of mother competes with her daughter for love? What kind of mother would rather destroy her child's happiness than face her own pain? I tried to talk to Ryan about it. I told him how she manipulated me growing up, how she played victim when she didn't get her way. But he just said, "Maybe you're reading too much into it. She's just trying to help." And that's when I realized she had already gotten to him. Because when a mother wears the mask of innocence, who's going to believe her child is the one telling the truth? I used to believe my mother could never truly hurt me, not on purpose. But I was wrong. She knew exactly where my weaknesses were. She had built me, after all. It began with guilt. "Do you remember how I worked double shifts so you could go to college?" She'd remind me, tears in her eyes. "And now, I barely see you. You have your husband, your own life, you don't even call me anymore." Every word landed heavy on my chest. I'd apologize again and again, rearranging my days to visit her, to prove I still cared. But every time I went, she'd twist the knife deeper. One afternoon, while Ryan was at work, she sat across from me in her kitchen. The smell of coffee filled the air, and for a second, it almost felt normal, like we were mother and daughter again. Then she said quietly, "You know, Ryan reminds me of your father." I looked up, confused. She smiled faintly. "The charm, the way he makes promises, but I see things you don't. Men like that always change. Just be careful, sweetheart." That night, I lay beside Ryan, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she was right. She was slowly turning my love into doubt, and I didn't even see it happening. Then came the ultimatum. When I told her I couldn't visit that weekend because Ryan's parents were coming to town, she snapped. "Oh, I see how it is. His family matters more than me now." "Mom, that's not what I said." She cut me off. "Don't bother. I get it. You replaced me." She hung up. For days, she ignored my calls. Then, when she finally answered, she sounded small and broken. "I just wanted to be part of your life," she said softly. "But I guess I'm just a burden." And just like that, I was back in her trap. I promised to visit, to make things right, because that's what daughters do, right? They fix things. They keep peace. But I didn't realize that every promise I made to her was pushing Ryan further away. He started to resent how often I ran to her side. "Every time she cries, you drop everything," he said once. "It's like you're married to her, not me." I didn't have an answer, because deep down, I knew he was right. But I couldn't stop. Mom had this way of making me feel like her happiness depended on me. And when someone raises you to believe you're responsible for their emotions, breaking free feels like betrayal, even when they're the ones breaking you. She knew exactly how to break me. Not with anger, but with love that felt like a leash. It was a Saturday morning, bright, calm, ordinary. I remember because the sun was spilling across the kitchen counter, and Ryan was making pancakes, humming softly like he always did. I thought it would be a good day, until my phone buzzed. It was Mom. I hesitated. She'd been distant all week, and I didn't want another guilt trip. But when I saw her message, my heart dropped. I can't do this anymore. I feel like you don't love me. Goodbye. I froze. My hands trembled so badly that the phone almost slipped from my grip. Ryan looked over, concern on his face. What happened? It's my mom, I whispered. I think she's saying goodbye. Without thinking, I grabbed my keys and rushed out the door. I didn't care about breakfast or the sunlight or the way Ryan called after me, asking me to stop. All I could think was, what if she does something to herself? When I got to her house, she was fine. Sitting on the couch, sipping tea, watching TV like nothing happened. Mom, what was that message? I demanded, my voice shaking. She looked at me blankly. Oh, that. You didn't answer my calls all week. I thought you stopped caring. I felt my anger and relief collide. You scared me. I thought something happened. She gave me that cold little smile, the one that always made me feel 10 years old again. Well, at least now I know you still care. That was the first time I felt something close to hate for her. When I got home hours later, Ryan was gone. The pancakes were cold. There was a note on the counter. I can't do this anymore. I feel like I'm losing you to her. I broke down right there, crying so hard I could barely breathe. Mom called that evening, acting innocent. Oh, he left. Maybe he just needs space. You're too emotional sometimes. Honey, men don't like that. That night, I realized the truth. She wasn't lonely. She wasn't broken. She was in control. She wanted me to come running, to put her above everything, even my marriage. And the more I gave her that power, the more she used it against me. From that day, things between Ryan and me were never the same. Every argument led back to her. Your mom said you'd never change, he once shouted during a fight. Maybe she's right. It wasn't just about her anymore. It was her voice living inside our marriage, her shadow stretching across everything we built. That's when I knew. My mother didn't want to share my life. She wanted to own it. The night it happened, I was already exhausted, emotionally drained, barely holding on. Ryan and I had been distant for weeks. Our conversations were shorter, our silences longer, and whenever we did speak, Mom's name always found its way between us like a ghost we couldn't exorcise. That evening, I was working late when I noticed my phone buzzing again and again. Missed calls. From Mom. Then a text. Ryan's here. We're just talking. My stomach twisted. He hadn't mentioned going anywhere, and Mom lived 30 minutes away. I called him. No answer. Then I called her. Straight to voicemail. For an hour, I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone, my heart pounding. I told myself it was innocent. Maybe he stopped by to check on her. Maybe he was trying to fix things between us. But deep down, I knew it wasn't right. When I finally drove to her house, the lights were dim. I stood outside, frozen, listening to the muffled sound of voices through the door. His laughter. I rang the bell. The look on both their faces when she opened the door, I'll never forget it. Ryan's face was pale, eyes wide. Mom smiled too quickly, too comfortably. Oh, sweetheart, she said. What are you doing here? I should be asking you that, I whispered. My voice cracked. Ryan. He ran a hand through his hair. Your mom called me. She said you were thinking about leaving me. I came here to talk to her, to figure out what's going on. My mind went blank. I never said that, I whispered. Why would you believe her? Mom stepped forward. Don't blame him, honey. I told him because I'm worried about you. You've been unstable lately. Crying, forgetting things, working too much. You're not yourself. It hit me like ice water. She wasn't just turning him against me anymore. She was painting me as the problem. The crazy one. Ryan looked torn, confused, but the doubt was already there. She'd won another inch. That night, I begged him to see what she was doing, but he wouldn't listen. "She's just trying to help," he said. "You should be grateful." Grateful. I lay awake until morning, staring at the ceiling, realizing that my mother had crossed the one line I thought she never would. She'd made my husband question my sanity. From that moment, something inside me broke. Not just my trust, but my spirit. And the worst part, she didn't stop there. The days after that night felt like walking through fog. Ryan barely spoke to me. When he did, his words were cautious, careful, like I might explode at any moment. And in a way, I already had. I tried everything. Cooking his favorite meals, leaving little notes in his briefcase like I used to, trying to bring back the laughter, the softness we once had. But every attempt was met with silence, or worse, pity. Then came the message that shattered me. It was a text from Mom. "You can't hold on to something that's already gone. Let him go before he leaves you first." I didn't even respond. I just stared at the screen, tears welling up. I didn't understand how a mother, my mother, could find satisfaction in my pain. That evening, Ryan came home with that same quiet heaviness I'd come to dread. He sat down across from me, his face pale, eyes hollow. "Your mom told me you've been talking about divorce," he said. I froze. "What? That's not true." "She said you told her you're tired of me, that you feel trapped." I shook my head, my throat tight. "Ryan, she's lying. She's trying to make you leave me." He sighed, rubbing his forehead. "You keep saying that, but she's been nothing but kind to me. Maybe you're just seeing things through your anger." Something in me snapped. "Do you even hear yourself?" I shouted. "She's manipulating us. She wants us apart because she can't stand to see me happy." His silence was worse than any scream. He just stood there, shaking his head, and said quietly, "I can't do this anymore." I reached for him, but he stepped back. "I love you," I whispered. "Please don't let her win." But he was already walking away. I heard the door close, the sound echoing through the house, the sound of everything collapsing. I sank to the floor, my chest heaving, my hands trembling as I stared at the wedding photo on the wall. We looked so happy in that picture, so full of promise. And in that moment, I realized something I had never wanted to admit. My mother didn't just want me to lose him. She wanted me to feel the same emptiness she had lived with all her life. She couldn't make my father love her, so she destroyed the love I found, because that was the only kind of power she knew. And as I sat there on the cold floor, sobbing until my throat burned, I finally saw the truth. The woman who gave me life had taken it away piece by piece. The house didn't feel like home anymore. Every sound, the hum of the fridge, the creak of the floorboards, felt heavier, louder, emptier. I'd wake up expecting to hear Ryan's laugh from the kitchen, or feel his hand reach for mine under the sheets. But every morning, it was just me. Silence has a way of becoming a mirror. It forces you to see everything you've been avoiding. And in that silence, I saw the truth, every manipulation, every word my mother had twisted. I saw her fingerprints all over my broken marriage. For weeks, I didn't answer her calls. Not out of anger, out of exhaustion. I had nothing left to give her. She showed up anyway. She stood at my door, holding a casserole, her eyes soft and pitiful. "I heard he left," she said. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart." I wanted to slam the door in her face. I wanted to scream, "You did this." But instead, I just stood there, numb. She walked in like she still owned the place, placing the food on the counter, looking around as if she were inspecting damage she hadn't caused. "You'll get through this," she said softly. "You're strong, like me." Strong like her. The words made my stomach turn. I asked quietly, "Did you tell Ryan I wanted to leave him?" Her eyes flickered, just for a second. Then she smiled, that practiced, motherly smile. "I only told him what I thought was true. You seemed unhappy." I stepped back, shaking my head. "You lied. You took everything from me." Her expression changed. The warmth vanished. Her voice turned cold. "Don't you dare blame me for your failed marriage. I warned you he was like your father." And there it was, the truth she'd been hiding behind all the tears and guilt. She wasn't sorry. She was satisfied. I stood there, staring at the woman who raised me, realizing that she wasn't broken. She was bitter. She didn't destroy my marriage by accident. She did it because seeing me loved made her feel unloved. When she finally left that night, I locked the door behind her and slid to the floor, crying until my chest ached. For the first time, I wasn't crying for Ryan. I was crying for myself, for the little girl who kept trying to earn love from a woman who didn't know how to give it. The next morning, the silence was still there, but it felt different. It wasn't empty anymore. It was honest. Because now, I knew, my mother didn't want me happy. She wanted me hers. It had been almost 2 months since Ryan left. I had stopped hoping for texts, stopped checking the driveway for his car. I told myself he was gone for good, and maybe that was for the best. But the truth, a part of me still woke up every morning praying he'd come back. Then one afternoon, my phone buzzed with a message I never expected to see. Ryan, can we talk? I stayed at it for a long time. My hands shook as I typed back. Yes, please. When he showed up at the door, he looked different, tired, older, like life had been heavy since he left. We sat in the living room, the silence between us stretching like a wall. Finally, he spoke. Your mom came to see me last week. My stomach twisted. What did she say? He hesitated, then looked down. She told me you were seeing someone else. That you admitted it to her. She said you didn't want to hurt me, but you felt trapped in our marriage. I felt the air leave my lungs. That's a lie, I whispered. I never said that. He nodded slowly. I know. For the first time in months, I saw something shift in his eyes. Regret, realization. I didn't believe her at first, he said. But she showed me messages. Screenshots of texts that looked like they were from you. I found out later she made them. She used an app. My hands flew to my mouth. Oh my God. He swallowed hard. I confronted her. She didn't even deny it. She said she was just trying to protect me from you. She told me you were just like your father, that you'd hurt me the way he hurt her. My knees went weak. I sat down, trembling. All those months of confusion, the fights, the heartbreak, it all made sense now. He continued softly. She said she did it because she couldn't stand to see you throw your life away on a man who'd leave you. But I think she just couldn't stand to see you happy. Tears filled my eyes. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I didn't know what to believe, he said quietly. But now I do. We sat there, both broken in different ways, surrounded by the wreckage she left behind. Then came a knock on the door. It was her. Mom stood there, calm, holding a tray of cookies like she always did, as if nothing had happened. Ryan, she said sweetly, I didn't expect to see you here. He looked at her with disgust. You lied to us. You destroyed us. For a moment, she didn't even flinch. Then her mask slipped, and the coldness in her eyes was something I'll never forget. You think love lasts, she said bitterly. Your father didn't love me. He left me empty. And you? She pointed at me. You thought you could have something better. You thought you deserved more. Tears streamed down my face. You punished me for his sins. Her lip trembled. He loved you more than me, and I couldn't stand it. The truth hung in the air like smoke, poisonous, suffocating, final. Ryan turned away. You need help, he said quietly. Then he walked out, leaving her standing there, shaking with fury. I didn't chase him. I didn't even cry. Because for the first time in my life, I saw my mother clearly, not as a victim, not as a caretaker, but as the person who had broken everything she couldn't control. The day after Ryan left for good, I packed away the last of his things. His shirts, his cologne, the watch he forgot on the nightstand, little ghosts of what my life used to be. Each item felt like a goodbye I hadn't been ready to say. My mother called that morning. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail, her tone trembling, almost pleading. Honey, I didn't mean for things to go so far. You have to understand, I only wanted what was best for you. But there was no best left. Not for her, not for me. There was only damage. That afternoon, I drove to her house one last time. When she opened the door, she looked smaller somehow, as if the weight of her own lies had finally begun to crush her. Sweetheart, she said softly, I'm so glad you came. I was just about to call you again. I stepped inside. The smell of vanilla candles and coffee hit me, the same comforting scent I'd grown up with. For a second, it almost fooled me. Almost. I came to say goodbye, I said quietly. Her smile faltered. Goodbye? What are you talking about? I can't do this anymore, Mom, I said, my voice shaking. You've hurt me in ways I can't explain. You made the man I love walk away. You lied, manipulated, and tore me apart because you couldn't handle your own pain. And I kept forgiving you, because you're my mother. But I can't keep bleeding for you. Her eyes filled with tears, but I'd seen those tears before, the ones that came when she needed control. You're all I have, she whispered. You can't leave me like he did. I swallowed hard. You made sure I'd end up just like you, alone. But I won't live that way. I won't become you. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Please, she said. I did it out of love. I looked at her, really looked, and for the first time, I felt nothing. Not anger, not hate, just emptiness. Love doesn't destroy, I said softly. It builds. What you did wasn't love, Mom. It was punishment. Her face crumpled, and I turned away before I could change my mind. As I walked to the door, she said one last thing, a whisper I'll never forget. You'll come back. You always do. But she was wrong. I drove home, rolled down the windows, and for the first time in months, I breathed, really breathed. The air felt sharp, new, almost like freedom. Ryan never came back. And maybe he never will. But I've made peace with that. Because now I understand that not all betrayals come from strangers. Some come from the people who claim to love you most, the ones who can hurt you in ways no one else can. And healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means finally closing the door on the person who kept reopening your wounds. So, I let her go. And in doing so, I finally found myself again. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, a parent, a lover, a friend, I hope you know this. It's not your fault. Some people love with control. Some love with fear. But real love sets you free. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had to walk away from someone you thought you couldn't live without? And if this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe, share your thoughts, and remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let go.